So, for the benefit of those who don't know what the word coming out means, what I thought it means is, and this is specific to the fathers. I want to work with you for a minute before I comment on what I understand about my daughter. When your daughter or your son says to you, "Hey, Dad, I'm gay. Hey, Mom, I'm gay," I want you to shut down your thoughts, smile, receive what you just heard, and say, "Can I pause for a minute? I need to go to the bathroom, or I need to go outside. I'll be right back." And then I'm going to let you know what I think about what I just heard. Coming out. Give the person opportunity to speak. Okay, done. I had to do that for myself. Before I started the judgment, then the big boulder, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, that big boulder coming down the hill, and there was nowhere to go. Either you're going to jump off that cliff and you're going to fall, or you're going to fall and get caught and God's going to catch you, you're going to fly. I had to make a decision. So let me back up to January 2006, prior to Jamie telling me by September of 2006 what coming out meant. So Jamie's had confusion in her role within our families. Two, Isaac and Simone, the older, Mom and I, and then there was Jay. So we had a conversation about that in January 2006, and I wrote this down. This is our conversation. Jamie Marie feels like she does not belong in a deeper way because she was born last in the family. I reassured her of her role by God, and I read a couple of scriptures that back that up. And Jamie was very, very vulnerable that day. She was 17 at that time. Very honest, very open, very real with me. I was led by the Spirit to review our past deeper conversations. Grandmama and Jay, our family meetings in 2005. Dad messed up. They all jumped on Dad. I was the bad guy. Jamie remembered that. Different things I do is, how do I reconcile what I understand and believe about God, and then how do I transfer that and communicate that to Jamie and the family without making them do what I want them to do. So anyway, this was a very good day that Jamie felt secure. She felt this is a sense of who I am and where I belong in our family. She felt that this is where I am secure and where I belong. She felt that when she's in the role that she's in, telling me how she feels causes her to feel accepted. This is January 2006. Fast forward to September, she goes away to college, comes back, interviews me for a first term paper. I think it was homophobia in the black church. So we're in the car and she's back and forth and asking me, interviewing me questions. "Hey, Dad, what about black people when they do this? Are they allowed in the church? What do preachers do? What do parents do?" And I'm in the car going, "Why are you asking me all these questions?" Man, I ain't like that. I know what I believe. I know what I think, and it wasn't positive. But anyway, we got through that interview process, and then she wrote her paper, and I read the paper, and I go, "Oh my God, I can't believe that she's telling me through her piece of paper. Oh my God. You're supposed to tell me, is my daughter gay? No way. Okay, all right, we got to talk. Jamie, I need to talk to you." And then we ran over to school and we had our little knockdown drag out. It was bad on my part. Dads, remember, my part, bad, not good. Don't do what I did. And if you need to talk to me, 510-415-2098. I will help you. Remember, I will
He
help
will.
you.
They do marriage
I
counseling.
guarantee you're not responding correctly. Okay, back to the point. So I really believe Jamie's grown in her ability to communicate to me what she thinks and feels. Because I'm a strong believer in tell me what you think, tell me what you see, and tell me what you feel. If you cannot do that within your family members, mom, dad, and the kids, you cannot do that out in the world of work and school and among friends. So at home, everything has to start. That's part of how I feel about Jamie coming out. Remember, dads, coming out means they tell you what they think and feel, and you do not react. You call me, and I will help you through that. There's two things that I had to work on is spiritually, where am I going to go with this? What don't I understand about what I just heard? I don't understand about the lifestyle. I don't understand the thinking. So that means I don't know. So that's place number one. I had to admit, I don't know what this means. I don't know what the word means and how it relates to me and my family. And how is this going to go against what I've already been teaching in my life and through my life? So I went to two stories in the Bible. One, Jesus went up to the woman who had been condemned by people. She committed adultery. And he went up to her and said, "Woman," I think the story is, They wanted to stone her because they caught her in adultery. And Jesus said, the first one of you who have not sinned, throw the first stone. And he bent down, he drew a line. And he looked up, everybody was gone because no one could condemn. So I took that meaning, okay, I can't condemn my daughter because I got sins in my life too, if I was to call it a sin. Then the second thing is there was a leper that the people in the community did not want to touch. So Jesus touched this person and welcomed this person. So I had two biblical references. Since I'm from the spiritual background, I'm supposed to be representing how Jesus loved and lived and accepted people who were different. Well, how am I going to say out there in the world at church, I love Jesus, and then I come home and I hate my daughter because she's choosing something that I don't understand? So I had to use those two stories to make sure that, am I approaching her because I want to be like Jesus? Or am I approaching her because I want to judge her as a father? Does that make sense? So I had to separate the judgment and the background understanding that I learned and go, okay, wait a minute. I don't know this, Jesus. I need to figure, you need to kind of lead me in the conversation. So I basically kind of got behind what I understand as Jesus taught me personally how to relate to someone I don't understand, something I don't know anything about, love beyond what I don't understand. So that's my premise today. It was always my premise, but I was never challenged inside of my family in this area. And it could be, it could be any other area that I don't know anything about. I would have to have the same approach because I said I want to follow Jesus. I didn't make her or make the kids. I said that. So I cannot tell her, well, now that you've made this decision or you're choosing these things, I no longer can love you or be around you or support you. That's opposite of what I said I believe. So I had to make a decision. Either I believe what I said 30, 40 years of what I believed, and I'm practicing it, or I'm a hypocrite. I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I had to make a decision to learn how to love 8 years ago. So now I'm 8. What does an 8-year-old know? Hey, let's go play. See if that makes sense. That's what I'm looking at it.
I don't know if I can talk about it because I'll probably start crying.
It's okay. Tell us what you think.
What I set out to do, like trying to make sure that I loved them, is like what is happening. Like, even though I didn't want to talk to them a lot of the time, like I didn't want to hear what they had to say about the Bible, and it wasn't gonna help me, like it didn't feel like that. But like that was one of those examples or points where I wasn't gonna like ignore them, even if I didn't agree with it. Like, I trust that they still have my best interest at heart, and whatever they like. It's kind of like the Bible in general. Like, I may not believe everything or I might not know what to do about it, but like if someone I care about is using it to like frame the way they want to relate to me, then I'm gonna like give space for it. And so just the times when I didn't want to talk to them but still did, I think was transformative for them and for me too. And then just over the last 6 months really, and like the last year, I've been doing work or like figuring out what I care about and what I actually want to spend my time doing outside of school. And like I was teaching, but that didn't really allow for like me to thrive as a whole person. So I was like, well, outside of this classroom, what do I want to do? What am I about? And thanks to like visioning practices with friends, like I figured out that I really care about Blackness, I really care about masculinity, and I really care about like community and people being there for each other. And that's really what my dad's life looks like right now. He, has his own organization called, he didn't start it, but he's very much a part of why it's thriving right now. It's called Black Men Speak, and it's really about Black men speaking about their life experiences, and so it's like a speakers bureau basically. And so that I already know that's what he's doing. And meanwhile, like I have been a part of the Brown Boy Project since 2010, and that's all about masculinity and like brown, black, like of colorness in general. And so like that being, like I already said, we're similar. So that being where, one place where we can align, like one thing I think what made me like see it like in all of its glory was after the Trayvon Martin ruling last year, I was super like, passionate about not letting that just be okay. And I really wanted to use whatever resources I had to like just create a conversation about that. And so what I was inspired to do was create a conversation about masculinity and Blackness in general and how that's policed, and how just like to create a room where people could walk in and talk about that. And then I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, we should just do it together. So we did it together. And the part that we definitely the angle that we have that not everybody has is the church piece where he's worked through what he's worked through. And so even in finding spaces, we went to churches and he was able to talk to like pastors, and I was sitting in the room and he was like, this is my daughter, this is what I care about, this is what I'm about. You and I both know we're about to get policed in the same way you would, Mr. Black Pastor Man, and like my daughter who's over here and like masculine but also respected and loving, like a loving human being. So I'm not, like you said, he's not here to judge and all that stuff. He just wants to create space for people to be safe and themselves and create like room for them to share their experiences. So the fact that he was willing to go to a church that, we don't go to that church. He was just like, oh, this community member in this place, let's talk about this space and see maybe if we use that space, then people will come or whatever. And we didn't end up using the church because they weren't super open to it. They were where he was a long time ago, because that's where you are when you don't have people to talk to about it.
This is why let me add some value here. This is why this is important. I already know the Black community feels like I feel. It didn't go away, but I have to manage the conversation. I have to manage my state. And I have to educate fathers, pastors, preachers, deacons in the Black community. It could be any community, but I know the Black community well. And so when they were going through I could see it. I go, oh my God, that's what I look like. Oh wow, is that what I look like? Yeah, Dad, that's what I look like. Oh, okay, man, that's not good. Hey, stop it. So trying to get them to pay attention to themselves as we were having this conversation, two things came up that I did not know. One, I'm her father, which means I will protect her from anyone that comes around or says things or, puts her down. That's my responsibility. She's not married yet, so that means I'm still responsible for anything that needs to be protected. So in this way, I needed to educate the men to protect her so that she knew I'm on your side. It's not just alignment. You're my child. You don't hurt my child. Oh, I got it. You want us to go help educate other people so they know how to get past this point. Because some people are stuck for years. Bitterness, resentment. They never forgave. They never let each other talk. Oh, that's what we already know. So we're supposed to do that. I thought that's why we had that conversation with that group. So in addition to that conversation, we went on and found a place, or Jamie found a place. And I went to this place and there were all Black women sitting around in like a little C-shaped circle. And Jamie started it off and I was like right here and Jamie was on that side. And she said, okay, you guys go ahead and identify yourself, something.
Your name.
Your name and how you identify yourself.
Your pronoun.
A pronoun. So I'm going, what the hell is a pronoun?
He was like around. He went on, like he was last. So
I'm thinking, wow, you look like a she. What'd you call yourself? A he. So I was kind of like, wow, okay, what am I gonna say? I ain't changing my mind. I know.
He also didn't know what it was. When it got to him, he's like, what is that?
I'm a he. I'm gonna stay a he. That ain't. I was going through whatever you called that reaction state. So I think by the time it got around to me, I go, well, I'm not quite sure. What's the pronoun? And so I had to ask a stupid question, but I felt okay to ask that question because this was Jamie and I's thing. It was something that we were doing together. And my program, Black Men Speak, and the program that she was involved in, Brown Bear Project, I go, wow, it's actually happening. So if she wouldn't have come out, I wouldn't have learned. We wouldn't be able to educate other people. Other men would not be able to hear another father say, this is what you think, this is what you say, and this is how you respond. Now, if you don't know how, come over here and I'll help you. And I'll go back and talk to your child. Nope, that was wrong. Come right back over here and let me help you because if it's love that you still have for your child, you can't do what you're doing. It's not good. It's not right. So somebody has got to stand up and say, sit down, father. Now, I can only talk about the dads. I can't talk about the moms. Father, this is how you should respond to your child. And they need to be taught and trained and walk through how to communicate. That's what I had to do to myself. Now I'm ready to help other fathers, if that makes sense.
So it means a lot. I don't even know if I think of it as, I'm sure nobody thinks like, what am I learning today from my parent? But I think just reflecting on it right now, I guess I feel like I've learned that it's okay to think big about somebody's life and to really care about like the deeper messages from if somebody's telling me something. I usually don't just listen to like the surface. I try and figure out, and it's kind of like could be like a negative thing because sometimes I figure out like what they're really saying, which doesn't mean that I think sometimes I might not catch what they're actually saying, but I think I've learned that it's okay to be deep, and a lot of my friends are like, why are you so deep, Jay? Like all the time, since I was like young. But I think I've learned that's okay. Like, I'm not like, doesn't make me insecure when they say that. I'm just like, I don't know, because that's what I do. And it's not that I don't like small talk. Like, small talk is cute, I guess. But I don't even necessarily know when something is small versus big. Like, I just take everything people say and I try and meet them where they are, like in terms of what in their life is happening and how is my presence going to make a difference and why they're telling me whatever they're telling me. Like, why what they're telling me, like, you know, I'm different than whoever else they could be talking to. So what am I going to contribute to this conversation? And I think I just learned how to do that from my dad. I don't think we ever talked about it, but he's always, as deep as this conversation has been, he's always like that for me. So that's just a skill that I got. And I think also I learned, and this is like another thing that means a lot to me, but I learned the beauty of being open about like when things are hard, and being masculine. Like, I've never thought about that for him, but I think for me, since that's like a different kind of conversation in the way I think about it, I do have this example that maybe a lot of people don't have, a lot of people my age and from my like background or being black or whatever. I don't think about not having a dad, whereas that's like a lot of people's reality. And I don't know if I've ever really tried to reflect on like how important that is, but obviously it's amazing. And I think it's really helped me feel balanced because, like I was saying, or like he said, there's this idea that I had my sister and my brother, and then my mom and my dad, and then I was like in between, because there were times where I felt like I was the messenger from like my siblings who were like trying to go off to college and didn't want to do church, and I was like, well, mom and dad, they're mad at you and I don't know what to do. And so, you know, they were older than me and I felt connected to them, but I also like was literally at home with my parents all the time, so it was kind of like I had two different sets of people that I was committed to, and like they weren't always on the same page. And I'm always kind of not so much the peacekeeper in life, but in the household I wanted to be, because I was like all by myself. I didn't have like the counterpart to be like, what do you think, twin or something. I didn't have that. I was like with myself. And so I think that I've learned from those kind of, I think of it as like a little tree or whatever. I've learned how to be a balance of people and how to be a balance of energies, and how that doesn't necessarily make me a good or bad person, like crying or being powerful or being like vulnerable at times. It's not always like my strong suit, it's not his either, but vulnerable at times, like I've just learned how to do that, I guess. But talking about when I said being open, I also really mean like being open about like mental health stuff, because a lot of people aren't open about that. And I think that combined with all the ways that we talk about things is also just really powerful, you know, like the fact that we have this similar experience and talk about it out loud. Like, you know, on Facebook, I'll just say whatever, this is my experience, or with my friends, I'll be like, I'm taking medicine, like, this is what it is, you know, and I'm not against taking I'm not against, like, not taking medicine or medication or whatever, and I'm not against, like, holistic things, but that's what's worked for me, and I feel like I approach it differently than a lot of people. They don't want to talk about it, or my friends who, recently, one of my friends was like, I'm really anxious, and I was like, tell me about that, like, what does that look like? And she's like, I'm gonna go see the psychotherapist, and I was like, cool, like, do you need, you know, like, I have a conversation, not only an experience, but I have an ability to, like, be open about it, and so I think that kind of definitely comes from him, but that's something that I'm growing in, and that's one of the things, I guess, that I've learned from him.
Jamie is a reflection of what I decided when I was 18. She's the mirror of my decision. I asked, what does a family look like if the father remains in the family all the way through? I gave 5 years stages. So when Jamie was 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and now she'll be 25, she's in the last 2 months of her 5th stage, and I now will call her an adult when the year 25, June 10, hits. She knows. She's grown now. Because between 18 and 25, there's still more development cognitively. So when I think about Jamie, I think she's developed foresight into helping me. Forethought, meaning as a parent, you look at your children and you go, I'm projecting forward. So in order for them to get over there, I need to start this now and stay with it until they become finish school. So you start at 5 years old, they're going to be done by whatever year. So in her heart and in her character, what I tried to instill is think about other people. G-O-Y. Jesus first, others second, yourself last. Well, not God, but joy. J-O-Y. Jesus first, others second, yourself last. So she has that skill to put others first. How that reflects and makes me feel is, I'm the boss.
You should already said that you.
I know, but what does it mean? Jamie makes me feel like I'm the boss. It means Brian's Online Success Services, so she's my success. She's serving people. You do it in steps. You got to start. This is what she's been through all her life. Y'all just get 2 minutes of it. You got to start, then you got to think about what you want to do, school, relationships, wherever you're going, and then you got to analyze, is this going to work? I'm not quite sure. This is a normal thought process for me, and I had to apply it when it had to do with her life, her heart, her character, her decisions. Everything goes through the same filter. There's a woman who wrote this book, I forgot her name, but when I saw this diagram, I realized, hey, wait a minute, we're all going through this. You always need to know where you're at. So where am I at with J. Marie? Getting ready to send her off into the world. If we were of Latina descent, we'd have a quinceañera at 25 and send her off, or whatever, something that says you have completed the process and now you're about to start your adult life, and she'll go back to being 0 June 26th this year. She'll be birthed into an adulthood. Now, from her point of view, she gets to start, growing up from there. That is not instilled in some families that I'm aware of. Kids have no idea where they're at, no idea where their role is, no idea where they fit in the world, so they can't function because they just don't know where they're standing. Where am I starting? So once she knows where she's at any point in life, she knows what the next step is. That was my responsibility. So I basically have turned this into a company. And Jamie makes me feel like I can do anything. She comes home one day and says, I got this job with this company called Lyft. What's Lyft? Well, you pick people up and you drop them off and you just drive them around. Okay, so we live in San Leandro and you're in San Francisco. Are men getting in your car? How are these people finding you? Why are they getting in your car? Lyft. So, well, you put this big mustache in your car and you drive up and you pick them up. Oh, wait, stop. You're picking up men. You got to have a Facebook page. And this is a job. Like a cab, something. So Jamie was so happy about this that I watched and noticed it was okay. And then she said, Dad, you ought to do this. I think you'll be really good at this. And for 6 months, this woman would not stop. Like a child wants some candy. I want some candy, please. I want some candy.
Mind you, he hadn't been working for a while, and I was like, it works. Just try it. Whatever.
So I wasn't making any money. The company is set up. I serve other people, basically market for them what they need done. So I'm a solution to help people market. So I wasn't making any money. Next thing I know, I started this project, and next thing I know, I'm doing it. I'm with it. I was teaching college and counseling at the university, so I had 2 different jobs. And the amount of money I was making for both those services, picking up and dropping off, I made the same. I thought, oh my God, the kids are between 18 and 35 that get in my car that I serve. My kids and my family between 18 and 30. Wow. Hey, wait a minute, I know this group. I should just keep this job. Thanks, Jay.
So I just take credit for all the good things.
So all the things that are happening, it is because I wasn't going to go do this. So I feel very successful now because her foresight said, hey, why don't you do this? And I was humble enough to try it 6 months after she told me because I didn't want to do it. And now it's actually meeting the need of our family, of her. It gives her, I think, a security. Well, he actually listened to me. I can tell people, my dad, I have proof. He financially listened to me. He humbly listened to me. He actually listens to me. So she does have influence. Now, when a father can tell a child, their child, you have influenced me, and that's good. You've been honest, open, genuine, and real. You can't have any more confidence than that. If the father said yes, and the daughter says yes, everybody go, yes, okay. And now you can start off adult life, and you're going to be fine because your stable pillars in your heart and in your role is that it doesn't matter what you choose in your life. If the family pillars are not there, you're going to crumble. And we see it all around us. So that's what Jamie makes me feel like, very, very successful. I mean, success doesn't mean money and material. It means the core heart ability to stand. And I crumble when pressure and resistance and all the, things of life come. She'll be able to stand. She'll be fine.
Thank you so much. Yeah.